What is good, everybody? Hope you're doing well. I got sick all last week. I am still fighting that bug. So we'll see if I can get through the video without clearing my throat too many times. I wanted to talk about the gaming lessons that I learned here this last year. I literally wrote my script 2026. You want to talk about brain fog? No, Dragoon, it's 2025, bro. If you are new to the channel, here's sort of the quick context. I have been doing YouTube since like 2011 as a fun hobby. Most of those years were multiplayer FPS game focused. I loved Halo. Halo is like the jam. But a couple of years ago, I just wasn't having fun anymore with the multiplayer FPS stuff. So I took a full break from the multiplayer things and I haven't looked back. It's been mainly single player and it changed everything. It allowed me to focus on a lot more fun. And the truth is I'm getting older. And as I get older, I have less and less time to game, and I think about the hobby differently. And I think this is a pretty fun space to talk with you about some of those things. So that's the main context of what I'm going to share, and everything I'm talking about is just only applicable to me. Everybody's got their own unique experience, and everybody has their own insights on stuff. When I made that switch away from the multiplayer in 2024, it was incredible. It was so easy. To just rip through tons and tons of games. I was devouring stuff. It was so much fun. Fallout through Elden Ring into Cyberpunk and the Cyberpunk DLC and Mass Effect 2. And that year was incredible. And in fact, I talk a lot about those games that I beat. There's a cool website called backlog.com. And this is kind of like Letterboxd, where you review movies and stuff. And it's just a good system. And I keep a journal over there of like all the games that I finish. And when I finish with the game, I write a quick little like paragraph summary of it and I can look back on it. I love having that list of stuff. And it was enjoyable to go like, wow, I really conquered a ton of my backlog and I got a bunch of value out of the stuff and the games that I already own. And it was so fun. It was drinking from a fire hose for sure. And this last year, I basically tried to copy that same feeling where I was trying to knock out a ton of games in the backlog, tick the boxes, do the stuff. And it led to some pretty funny pockets of time this year, which I'll describe in the video, where I wasn't having as much fun. And now I think I know why looking back, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. The first big lesson that I learned this last year, where you play, in my opinion, doesn't really matter all that much as long as you're having fun. It's a mindset thing. Want to enjoy a platform or a console or an ecosystem more? Engross yourself in it, commit to it, dive deep into it, find ways to frame it in your head as more than just booting up the game. There are like way more ways now to have fun with this hobby than ever before. And we've had so many good systems now where you can get an older system for so cheap. PS4 is on eBay, dirt cheap. They're still going to play all the indies and so much good stuff. And you can get games for so like affordable prices on the used market. I love the PlayStation 4, the Wii, the PS2, the PS3. Unfortunately, the 3DS has been priced into oblivion. Maybe you can find a pocket there, but the 3DS is one of my favorite handhelds ever. It's so great right now. The original Switch is fantastic. Switch Lite is super sick. PC is insane. Obviously, like, depending on the games you want to play, there are so many PC handhelds now that can do crazy good emulation. And so you can have fun on almost any ecosystem right now. And when I say it's a mindset thing, earlier this year, I was, thinking about handheld gaming a bunch, and I went back to my Switch. I hadn't played it in a long time. My Switch is like my favorite console in the last, since 2017 or 18, whenever I picked it up. But there were just a bunch of games that I hadn't played in forever and things I wanted to finish. And I basically just dove into the Switch for a full-on month, and it was really fun. And I got obsessed with that ecosystem and hopped into some of the Nintendo Switch Online games again, and it's a really good time. Basically, you don't need more stuff to have more fun. Can a new device add some additional joy and like new ways to play? Absolutely. I'm like a firm believer in that. But a lot of times they help you just kind of reframe the hobby in a way that reduces friction. And I think that does matter. Sometimes it can be a really good habit to just pause buying altogether, take stock of what you already have, and try and get more use out of it. YouTube and stuff like this is always really good at parading devices and tech in front of you that you don't have, right? Creating that FOMO, and then your head is like, oh, if I just had that thing, I would love it 10 times more. And you get the thing, and maybe you do love it 10 times more, but for me, my brain is really good at moving the goalposts and establishing a new baseline. And then that device that meant the world to you, months or years down the road, you're like already thinking of the next thing that you want that will make the experience that much better. So I think there's a balance. I love the tech side of this hobby. I think it's super sick getting to try different ways to play. I put a bunch of time into my PlayStation 2 this year, and it was so cool to go back and experience it and see all those differences. But I don't think everybody needs to rush out there and hop on eBay and buy a PlayStation 2. Like, depending on what you already got, you probably have more than enough. Everything these days, there's so many ways to have fun with it. And the hobby is just great. So anyway, it's a mindset thing. You don't need the newest, hottest thing to have a great time. Okay, what I meant by 2025 being a little bit odd. I feel like I've got a pretty good system for myself for beating more games. I've talked about it here a bunch. Typically, I'll be very intentional with picking a game, having a sense of just about how long it is to beat, and then sticking with that game, and usually playing just one story game at a time. But beating more games does not equal more fun. It definitely can satisfy a completionist side of the hobby, which is really gratifying. I do love hitting credits on a good game, feeling the music, the vibes, writing down those emotions, and then sharing that on Backlogged or whatever. That is super sick. In fact, if you want to know the games I beat this last year, I make a video each year on that. So I'll leave a link in the description or something. I love that feeling, but there were definitely times this last year where I didn't really feel like playing that story game or sticking with it. And anytime I sort of strayed from that system of no, you need to stay focused on this game, you got to get through it, I felt undisciplined in a weird way, because I had talked forever about this cool system of hey, just pick, focus, stay on that one game. It's a lot easier to get through, and you'll have fun. Yay. I felt like I was betraying my own system in a certain sense. And I don't know. There are times where that makes a lot of sense. And then there's times where you just got to recognize, go have fun, play what's fun. And you can't force the good times. You're going to have moments in any hobby where you're vibing. And it's great. And it's super fun. And you're on a game that you just absolutely love. I can tell you, Fallout 4 last year was insanely fun. New Vegas, super fun. Cyberpunk, a full playthrough and the DLC. So fun, so frictionless. I was loving it. Expedition 33 this year. So fun. Absolutely loving it. I'm looking back at the games I beat this year. Tomb Raider 2013. And then when I got to FF7 Rebirth and Remake, so fun. I loved every second of it. And then there's some of those in-between times where you're just trying to force the magic to happen. You're trying to force those great mountaintop peaks, those awesome moments, and you just can't force that magic. Sometimes those moments just come naturally, and you got to recognize you're in the pocket, and you can't just try and copy paste those great memories over and over and over again. And so I'll probably talk about this a lot. 2026, I'm more interested in looking at the hobby from the sense of what is going to match where I'm at today and give me a good solid boost of fun. What's going to be fun to play because it's fun to play. Not necessarily because I'm trying to tick it off a list, like a reading list, right? This is the curriculum. These are the games I want to get through this year. No, I don't really want to do that as much. I get that you have to be sort of committed to get to credits on some of the longer story games. But I'm seeing things a little bit differently in the sense that I'd rather just have fun with something for 15 or 20 minutes if it's the right vibe, if it's the right game, rather than rushing to hit credits on a ton of games to feel differently about a backlog, if that makes sense. If that's way out there and overthinking, you're right. It is overthinking. I realized this year that I enjoyed gaming more the less I did of it when it became more of a treat, something that I looked forward to, making sure everything was taken care of. And I'm only going to get older, and time is only going to get less and less. And so I'm trying to picture, well, what do I want kind of out of this hobby? And for 2026, I'm trying to focus as much on the fun. So I'll probably pick a few story games to tick off, but I'm not going to worry. And I'm going to probably play less and play differently, shorter sessions, focus on that fun, and not worried about beating a ton of games. I want to try and buy less. I want to do some other things and finding where this all fits. And I think here's the biggest thing. It's okay to change, and that's necessary for growth. I keep talking about like my journey in this hobby, and then I hear from you in the comments or see your content, because many of you are creators as well. And I learn a ton. And it's really rad to be a part of a community of people talking about the hobby, what they enjoy about it, and what it's revealing to them in real life. And it's funny, I'm going to go back and watch. I think at the beginning of this year, I did how I'm changing how I'm playing games in 2025. I'm going to rewatch that video, see where I was at last January and see where I am at now. And changing is super important. It is funny. The internet is well, you made a video 5 years ago talking about this process. You don't follow that exact framework anymore? Well, sure. I hope not. In order for you to grow and mature, you have to change. Some things you take with you, some things you leave behind. And there's discovery in that. There's a lot of good stuff that can occur. So anyway, I think that's my weird, sick little ramble today. What are some things that you learned through gaming this last year? I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.
This is Windmill Street Station.